waiting for. Please welcome the Pelbros Podcast.
Yo, welcome Pels fans of the Pelbros Podcast. Hope you all been doing well. I'm James, jumping on here really quickly just to do a quick solo run. As you all know by now, the NBA season has started. We're a couple days in already, so yeah, bear with us. Obviously, we're a bit delayed here, but yeah, just jumping on here quickly to discuss some of my thoughts of the Pelicans to start this season. Obviously, you know, if you've been watching, super exciting times ahead. This team's looking absolutely locked in, super exciting and fun to watch. And yeah, just thought I'd run through some of my thoughts. We started the season here 3 games in with a record of 2 wins, 1 loss. Obviously the win against Brooklyn on our opening night, a win followed by a win against Charlotte, and then unfortunately we just dropped the game to the Jazz today, who are now 3-0. So yeah, just myself here today. So a bit of a quick solo run. I'm not going to spend too much time, but yeah, Ryan would be jumping on future episodes for those who miss him. But yeah, as you all know, the Pels have started off with a bang this season, especially compared to what we've seen in the past. You know, obviously we've already two wins, which is more than some of the win totals that we've gotten in the past. You know, first 20 games. There was obviously that 3-16 season a couple seasons ago. That was pretty much a nightmare. But yeah, overall, just super excited to what we've been able to see. I'm just gonna quickly go over the game against Brooklyn. So that was our opening night. And yeah, the Pels just came out and looked fired up. So yeah, we all know what happened last season when we had that run towards the end of the season, made it to the play-ins, and then also pushed the Suns to 6 games, winning 2 of those. And yeah, we just saw what kind of chemistry, what kind of foundation this team was building. And it's clear that over the offseason, we didn't make many moves, kept pretty much most of the team. Obviously, given an opportunity for these guys to also mature, so especially those rookies from last season, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Jose Alvarado, giving them a full preseason with the team, with the chemistry, Zion back and healthy, all kind of gelling, figuring out how to play with each other, and yeah, kind of brought that all to the game against Brooklyn. So yeah, getting away with a dub, 130-108, and this is at Brooklyn's home court as well. Just overall, just such a fun game to watch. Honestly, if this is your first game tuning in for the Pelicans, then you know this is basically peak Pels right now. We just played super well. Everyone contributing. BI with 28 points, Zion 25 points, CJ McCollum 21 points. Just the big 3 really stepping up. And got a shout out JV as well, putting in 15 points, plus 28 plus or minus, which is huge. Double for him with 13 rebounds. Overall, yeah, just the whole team contributing. Can't forget to shout out Trey Murphy from the bench, 16 points, 4 of 6 from 3-point shooting. We were just hot all night, and yeah, really just giving it to Brooklyn. I think what was super impressive about this game is that we just kept this game at a distance. So yeah, overall it looked like a blowout towards the end, but you know, especially in the second quarter, they were fighting back off the back of KD going kind of God mode. Although we had a lead of around, you know, that sort of 8-15 mark, they were fighting back at times. But most impressive thing was that the Pels were just keeping them at that distance throughout the whole game. You know, in past seasons, we'd see us break out into a lead and then kind of the other team let the other team go on a run, and yeah, we kind of lose that lead and then flop and choke it out in the fourth quarter. But yeah, overall huge game, huge third quarter. So scoring 40 points versus the 28, and that really helps seal the deal towards the end of the game. And yeah, I mean, overall, just great defense, great offense. The team really showing their chemistry and complementing each other. Great rotations from Willie Green, just figuring out, you know, who deserves minutes and when. Obviously, there's a bit of mishmashing between Devontae Graham and Jose's minutes, but yeah, Willie Green just deciding whenever we need one or the other, just put them on. So yeah, overall, this team is really finding the mix, and now that we've got some time, some chemistry building, you know, it's really looking super promising. Obviously, Brooklyn had an off night, so Kyrie sucked, Ben Simmons sucked, Missed his first 2 3 throws in 2 seasons since he's been out. So it's good to see Ben Simmons flopping and choking as he always does, but even better to see Zion coming back after not playing season and a half and looking like his old self. Honestly, still rusty at times with some of his handles, but overall he just looked like he's faster, quicker, fitter than he was ever before. Still got that lightning speed. His second jump to grab his own misses and offensive rebounds is pretty insane still, and that really was the story of the night. The Pels just out rebounding the crap out of the Nets, especially on offensive boards. Both JV and Zion really stepping up, grabbing offensive rebounds like crazy, and giving our team second chance points where, really, the Nets had no answer. They were, like I mentioned, they were cold on offense, aside from maybe KD. But overall, we just outplayed them throughout, the whole course of the night. And the whole team played well and really, really contributed. So, yeah, great victory and great start to the season. Again, like I mentioned, we had that poor start, I think it was last season, where we just lost a lot of games in a row. So it's good to see us bounce and really get started off strongly. So quickly moving on to the Hornets game. So yeah, off the back of the hype of the Nets game, the question is, can we keep it up? Can we, back it up with more consistent performances, which we struggled to in the past? And yeah, honestly, this game was a great game. The scoreline 124 to 112, a win for us. It makes it look like it was a bit of a blowout, but that was especially towards the end, bit of garbage time. But overall, the Hornets stayed within this game quite well, and yeah, they've got some pretty good pieces and a pretty bright future ahead of them. And yeah, they were just hustling, playing great defense on Zion, especially, who did have a bit of an off night. 16 points, 7 on 19 from from the field. 3 turnovers. So yeah, it was a bit of a tough night for him, but he was being defended super well, getting hacked a few times here and there where he didn't get calls. But overall, the Hornets played him well. And that just meant that other players had to step up. And yeah, BI doing what he does best, 28 points, 8 of 16, our best player on the team. But for this game in particular, it was clearly JV. 30 points, 17 rebounds. Shout out to the big man. Absolutely slaughtered the boards. He was doing everything. And there was a stretch where Zion was really struggling, getting defended really well. And the next person stepping up was JV, passing the ball. He'd either post up, get a foul, get some free throws, or he'd put a bucket, or he'd grab rebounds and offensive rebounds to get us second chance points. So yeah, huge game from him. 13 of 14 from the free throw, which is incredible. I just felt so confident every time he got the ball, because the other guys were struggling a bit at times. So yeah, it was just great to see. We talk a lot about that big three: CJ, BI, Zion, but obviously they're gonna have their off nights. Some of them still come back from still a bit rusty, like Zion. So it's good to know that we have a fourth person who can step up, potentially even a fifth person with Trey, and in future, I imagine Herb, Nance, those guys will definitely step up and play those 4th, 5th, 6th option roles. But yeah, overall, it was a great back and forth game. Like I mentioned, Hornets stayed within it off the back of Gordon Hayward, Rozier, Kelly Oubre. They just played great defense and then matched that up with great offense. Even Dennis Smith Jr. playing a bit of a role there and getting in our faces, giving our guys a bit of a hard time there. So yeah, it was great to see sort of 2 young teams with quite a lot of depth just battle it out. And yeah, at times it looked like they were making a huge comeback and a run, but the Pels would just step up and make a run of their own. So yeah, overall, really happy with the performance. Again, JV MVP of this one. And then I got to give a shout out to CJ, purely just because of the role he's playing within the team, understanding when he needs to take the ball up, when he needs to step up and be an offensive threat, but then when he needs to pass it and let guys like BI and JV take over. So yeah, really just the team meshing well, gelling well, and yeah, getting the second victory, 2 in a row, start the season against the Hornets. And then moving on to the final game, which I'll cover today, which was the game earlier today, Utah Jazz versus Utah Jazz in our first home court game. Unfortunately, we took a loss, 122-121. This game did go to overtime. with the Pels making a bit of a run towards the fourth quarter to take it into OT. But yeah, honestly, the Utah Jazz, just want to give a shout out to them first and foremost, compliment them on, I mean, obviously it's only been 3 games and they're 3-0, but wow, they're looking like they're making a quick rebuild. Obviously traded Rudy Gobert to the Timberwolves, but they've brought in some great pieces. Markkanen was absolutely crazy today, 31 points, 12 rebounds. Jordan Clarkson going from that 6-man role last year to stepping up to the starting lineup, 18 points, hit some huge shots. One of them to send the game to overtime. Yeah, this team is just, they're building something, and they've done a quick rebuild, which is great to see. I don't think this is necessarily going to last. When we start the season, there's always teams that play well, step up, but it's an 82-game season. There's still lots to go, but right now they're sitting atop of the Western Conference. Super impressive with what they've done, and yeah, they showed it up. They showed it this game. It was our first home court game, so that we're going to come out and try to give as much energy as possible. But the Utah Jazz just kept us away with their offense, and some great defense as well. Bit of an off night for JV, 6 points, 2 of 11 from the field. So it was up to Zion and CJ to step up, 25 points and 28 points respectively. Unfortunately for BI, he went off with an injury. I believe he got hit in the face early in the game. Went to the bench for a while, came back into the game for a bit, and then only played 11 minutes. He ended up going back to the locker room. So it's a shame to see, but it was good to see that, despite losing our best player, arguably, we will manage to kind of keep the game close and then send it to overtime. But when it came down to the stretch, it was clear that we were missing. CJ did step up, but it was clear that we were missing another offensive threat and a guy who can ISO score and hit those clutch buckets in those dying minutes. Overall, shout out to the bench. Willie Green went with the bench when we were down in the fourth quarter, and the bench guys were the ones who made a run that helped get us into OT. So Nance Jr. was huge, played 29 minutes. Actually got played in favor of JV just because JV was struggling out there against a smaller lineup. Jose Alvarado absolutely killed it. He was just hustling everywhere on defense. Missed a couple of important shots, but overall 3 of 6 from the field, not too bad. And then Trey Murphy, 16 points, played 40 minutes. So it was this lineup of Herb, Nance, CJ, Jose, that was played towards the end of the game and into OT, as these were the guys that were locking it down. Did seem like Zion was sitting on the bench for a lot, whether that was due to potentially the other guys stepping up too much, or his defensive presence lacking a bit, could be argued. Although it did come out and they did say that he did have a hip contusion, which is basically like a bruised ass or something. So it's a shame to see him have to sit as well towards the end of the game. It would have been good to see him on and maybe just that additional offensive threat for CJ to really sort of make that difference. But in the end, CJ couldn't unfortunately carry us to the end. We lost off a Kelly Olynyk drive, which ended up hitting the layup and going up by 1 with 3 seconds left to go. And then from there, we got off a pretty poor 3-point shot that rimmed out. So yeah, it sucked to see, but overall it was a super close game. And like I said, got to give my props to the Utah Jazz. Didn't expect them to be here. They were clearly in rebuild mode, but they brought in some really young talent that is working well together. So it's good to see that the West is going to be competitive. It's going to be super competitive. But it's good to see that we've kept all 3 games super competitive as well. The makeup of this team, the chemistry, their willingness to pay for each other is just a huge difference, and compared to past seasons, especially on the defensive side. So yeah, here and there's still a lot of defensive misreads, but at least the energy and the flows there a lot better than the Stan days, the Gentry days. So yeah, overall 2-1, first 3 games, really promising results. We could have potentially gotten the win against the Jazz today, but missed it unfortunately. So we could have potentially been 3-0, but yeah, just looking super excited to see what is in store for us. And I imagine, a lot of you Pels fans are super excited as well. It's going to be an exciting season, and all I have to say is, stay tuned. This is going to be one of the most fun teams to watch easily. We've scored, from those 3 games, we've scored 130, 1-2-4 and 1-2-2. So this team is an offensive threat, and that's what makes them fun to watch. And hopefully we continue to back it up on defense. Points differential right now is +11, which is one of the highest in the league. Not the highest, that belongs to Dallas at the moment. But 125 points per game, 114 opponent points per game. So yeah, things are looking super promising, so different to what we've seen in the past. And that's pretty much overall. I just wanted to share my thoughts on the first 3 games. Obviously, we're a bit delayed. And yeah, this time it's just a solo run. But yeah, hopefully we'll link back up and release a couple more official episodes in future once Ryan is back. And yeah, we just continue to follow the journey that the Pels have gone this year. Quickly before I wrap up this video, I might just give my predictions on where I think we're at. Before the season started, I would have said around that 7 to 8 mark in the standings, and 3 games in, I'm going to stand by it. I won't change my decision just because I know that we've won our first 2 games, one against the Nets, who's supposed to be one of the star teams. I'm going to stick to that prediction around that 7 to 8 mark. It's a long season. It's 82 games. Injuries are going to happen. The season's going to take its toll, and like I mentioned, it's going to be super competitive in the West. So yeah, I think I'm feeling pretty confident that we're going to beat our standings from last year, comfortably sit in that 7 to 8 range. Anything better than that will obviously be amazing. That way we don't have to play in the play-in tournament. That 5th to 6th mark, I could definitely see us achieving. But for now, I'm going to stick to my prediction around that 7th to 8th mark. And yeah, hopefully BI gets some raps for MVP. Because yeah, he's definitely going to be the one that is carrying the team off the back of the big 3, Zion, CJ, and then I have to shout out my other boys, JV and Herb. But yeah, overall, thanks for listening. Just thought I'd do a quick wrap up. Obviously, it's a bit rusty. Haven't recorded something in a while. But yeah, if you're still here, thanks for listening and tuning in. Stay tuned for more episodes in the future. We out. Laters.